She's an award-winning YouTuber and best-selling author obsessed with helping you go after the life you want.
I like it.
Join her as she seeks out the stories and strategies
Give me every little detail
of extraordinary people who found success.
I'm going to get emotional. Oh my God.
Welcome to Detail Therapy with Amy Landino.
Good morning, good life. Welcome back to Detail Therapy. In this episode, we're getting into the details about consistently showing up. How do we stay on top of our habits and goals without the procrastination and burnout that tries to come for us? I know we're feeling this in February, the classic February slump after we set those wonderful goals and New Year's resolutions for the year. Where are we going to get motivation that moves us to win the day? We're going to unpack motivation and how to find it for yourself. And of course, something really special I wanted to share with you. I always have something special for you, but this is next level. Next level. I have a very special offer coming, and you're among the first to find out about it. So we're going to get into that. If you're new here, hello, my name is Amy Landino, and I will be your host. I'm the founder of GATLU, which stands for Go After the Life You Want. We create resources for ambitious professionals like you who are ready to unleash their power, get unstuck, and create the life of their dreams. If you visit detailtherapy.online, you're going to find everything, all of our work, not just videos, books, blog posts, and show notes for this podcast, but you can get details there about our new daily motivational podcast, which you can get instant access to in our premium community, Shine Squad. Just tap the notes in your podcast player for links to everything I mentioned, or again, you can go visit detailtherapy.online. So something I've noticed lately is, it's the classic winter blues. It's the classic February slump, right? We just talked about that. And even more so than ever, I think we're in a state of emergency when it comes to our mindset. And it's so easy to hear people tell you this, right? Oh, you just got to fix your mindset. You just got to think positive. It's like, okay, thank you. We really want to have a better understanding of what does that actually mean, because it is something that has to become so much of a lifestyle change, so much in your own mind, and something you work at all the time. It can be really frustrating. But again, as much as everything that contributes to how we're feeling is both mental, but it also environmental, we can only control what we can control. And that is something that you and I talk about all the time. I am obsessed with control. Actually, it's really funny because I think I polled the audience once. I asked some friends and some family. I don't remember. I think this must have been a trivia question or something like, is Amy a control freak? And where I would have answered that question as a yes, the resounding feedback around me was that I wasn't, which I think is really fascinating, that apparently I'm hiding my control freakiness. But what's even more interesting about that is how much I recognize what I don't control and how much training that has taken for my mindset over the years. And it's not perfect. I have to tell you, the last 48 hours, I'm convinced technology hates me. Like, everything that could possibly go wrong technologically for me has gone wrong in the last 48 hours. Things that just should not happen because there's no reason whatsoever. But here I am telling the universe technology is mad at me. And so that must be what the state of the world is. That's, first of all, ridiculous. And second of all, things happen that are outside of my control. And I can continue to get really frustrated when I don't have a signal in this new city that I moved to and I don't know how to drive home. And that drives me crazy. But things happen and it's out of my control and I have to do the best that I possibly can. So it takes so much work, but our mindset is everything. Our mentality is everything. Even if you're in an environment where the circumstances are not ideal, you can still do the mental work to push through. And it may seem impossible, but let's talk about that impossibility, okay? Because I do recognize that it's a struggle. It absolutely is. So if we're going to talk about finding the motivation that we need to be super consistent and continue to show up and win the day, let's address first what's holding us back from that. Because these are the things that are top of mind. If our mindset, or if our mentality is not where it needs to be, this is what is holding us back. And some of these answers were actually from a little poll that we did recently in Shine Squad. I also asked my YouTube channel and Twitter and all the fun places, what's holding you back? A lot of the feedback that we got was choosing and sticking with the right routine. I know that a lot of people are overthinking the routine, and how do you know it's right for you? How do you know that you should choose it and stick with it? And then even if you aren't sure yet, are you sticking with it? Are you trying it at all? Are you continuing to show up? That having that routine, overthinking it, and is causing us to not show up regularly. Having functional but versatile systems for success. What are those things that work for you, that are functional, that you can do, but you also don't feel like you're so pigeonholed that you can't make small adjustments here and there because of when life happens and things change? Procrastination. I mean, this is a huge one, right? How much do we procrastinate in our lives in so many different ways? Sometimes we know we're doing it. Sometimes we know we're actively avoiding something. Sometimes we're just doing something that distracts us enough that we don't think about the stuff that we're procrastinating on at all. Actually executing on plans. We make plans, and planning is so much fun because you sit down and you actually feel like you're doing something, but you're not. You're just planning. It's not an actual execution. It's just a plan that you want to execute, right? So how do we get to the point where we're executing? We're feeling held back because we've got all these plans. We've got a planner. We've got all the things laid out in front of us, but then we have to do them when we're not. That's holding us back because we don't have that first step in the right direction. Dealing with negativity around you. I mean, where does it end? It's the people around you. It's the news. It's what works on your YouTube homepage or on your social media algorithm. Negativity, drama, just like the big displays of emotion that get you, like triggered in whatever way anybody can figure out. These types of negativity. People in your life who are taking out on you, even if they don't realize that they are. Maybe they're just saying, I'm venting, letting them know. How do you let them know that what they're venting about is just not something you want in your space? That's really hard because we want to be there for people, but we are trying not to let that negativity bleed into us and affect us in the wrong ways. Not seeing results fast enough. Everybody wants the speedy result, but we don't often see the speedy result. There is no overnight success. Success is very short-lived a lot of the time. We have to fully absorb it when it happens and appreciate it because we have to be on to the next thing because it is so quick. But still not seeing those results fast enough, we get very discouraged. So that's holding us back from showing up every day. The results aren't going to be there anyway, so why bother, right? Too many ideas. I hear this one so often. I have too many ideas. I have so many ideas. I don't know where to start. And maybe that's what's holding you back. Or are you taking things too personally? Maybe you know something that you want to do or you want to get started on, but if you've tested it a little bit or you've sampled the waters of what people think, or you worry that you don't have the thick skin that it'll take, you might take things too personally. So you're not starting because you're worried what the feedback will be right away. Comparison culture, that's huge. That stops us every day, every single day. It's amazing how much comparison culture stops us every day. We are looking out all the time. We think we have a good reason for it because we're looking to see, okay, well, what's everybody else got? What's everybody else doing? We tell ourselves it's just to see what's possible, but then it stops us in our tracks. Because we think if someone has something, we can't have it, or they've already taken that opportunity, or it's discouraging because they're 25 years old and I'm 45 years old. So it must not be possible for me because they've already done it and they're young and I wasted so much time. Whatever the case may be, when we compare, we find our own ways to compare all the time. Just a little tidbit here. You need to remember that comparison culture is all in your head. Everyone's sharing their highlight reel. And the reality is that people are so much more broke and probably even more broken than they would ever lead you to believe. So you cannot look at someone's highlights, someone's shining moments. And you know you do it too. We post to our Instagram when we have a shining moment. You know that that's not life all the time. So these are the things that are holding us back, right? Maybe something popped up here for you. Maybe there's some more things that popped up here for you as well. I want to tell you what the secret to all of combating this is not. I want to tell you what is not going to be the ticket to success. And you're probably going to be confused when I say it. But the secret here to fixing your mentality is not positive thinking. It's not. It's actually not positive thinking at all. It seems as though positivity is the opposite of negativity, right? Because if you were to say that out loud, like I just did, it sounds like that would be the truth. But it's really not. I think positivity is a good thing, but you don't want it to feel inauthentic. And that's where I think a lot of people have classified the idea of positivity, being super positive, being unrealistically positive, being just best case scenario all the time. That is not the opposite of negativity. Negativity in and of itself is allowing for any and all excuses to keep you from trying, right? That's all negativity is. So what's holding us back? I can't choose and stick to the right routine. Okay, well, the negative aspect of that is just lack of decision, right? And thinking that you're going to get it wrong. That the likelihood you picked the right routine is so low that there's no such thing as the right routine because it's wrong. Procrastination, that's negative because we have negative feelings about the thing we got to do. So we're trying to distract ourselves with anything else so that we make the excuse from trying. Negative people around us, that is an excuse to stop trying because they're already negative. If they see us doing good for ourselves, they're just going to use it as content to make us feel worse or bring us down a notch off of this pedestal that we're trying really, really hard to create for ourselves. Not so that we can think we're better than anyone else, just so we can feel better. Just so we can feel better. Comparison culture. We have negative feelings there because if something is good in someone else's world, something bad must be happening in your world. So negativity is simply an excuse to stop trying. And that's why the reality is that positivity is not the opposite, because positivity may not be the unlock for you that keeps you from making those excuses, especially if you've still got that ulterior, or the alternative voice in your head that's saying, this positivity stuff you're saying is a bunch of crap, right? That's not going to help. That's not going to get us there. What I believe the opposite of negativity is conviction. And when you're convicted in your beliefs, then you can start to let the negativity fall away. It's still going to be there, but it's not going to be your true belief system. We're trying to remove that from being the case. Do you want to be convicted in the fact that everyone else has it better than you? Does that sound like something that as you carry it with you, it's going to help you in the future, is going to build you up? Are you convicted in the fact that you are never going to find the right morning routine? Like, really? You have a conviction about that? I mean, it just sounds ridiculous. We're talking about morning routines, and I'm the queen of the routine, honey. Like, I love it. But at the end of the day, that's what we're so focused on. It's not. It's just a detail. So we need to figure out what are those convictions that we do have, because that's the story that we should be listening to more so that this negativity doesn't keep taking us down. So with all that in mind, it's not about being more positive all the time. I mean, we want more positivity, and I talk about positivity as much as I can, but I don't wake up every morning and like start singing and get excited and say, today's going to be a great day. Today's going to be a great day. And I, as much as that is probably a great mantra, it really is actually, now that I'm saying it out loud, it's not that I have this built-in positive feeling in me all the time that I've convinced myself to keep playing. It's that I have grown, I've educated myself to be able to think on a level that the better is coming, the better is possible, the better is already on its way to me. And it's because of how I am every day. So, what are we going to do every day? It's not have some fake positivity on replay, but we are going to go get that motivation, right? We don't have the motivation for a very good reason. Let me tell you why. Motivation is not something that you have, okay? It's not in your wallet. It's not in your hand. It's not in your coffee cupboard. Sometimes it seems like it first thing in the morning, a little motivation in the coffee. No, it's not something you have. Motivation is not something you have. It is something you do. So while we're always looking for motivation, it's actually going to reveal itself to us when we get momentum. If you want motivation, you need to get momentum. This is what will motivate you. Momentum is that little step that we take, that try again, that I'm going to do it for 5 minutes and that's it. I may not have the energy to clean my whole house, but I'm going to get to this corner of the kitchen. I'm going to do something that gives me a little bit of momentum, because the results of that, the results I'm dying to see, the overnight success I would love to have that's not coming my way, I'm going to go and get it by creating my own momentum, that taking that one step so that I can potentially figure out what the next one is. You cannot have motivation. You do it. You just need the movement. You need the momentum. So it's very chicken and egg, right? Because everyone's need for motivation comes from, I need the motivation in order to start. No. You need to start so that you can consistently witness and feel motivation. Yet another negative mindset that I can't start because you have it all wrong. Motivation is not something you have, it's something you do. And then you feel it when you take those first steps. So if you want to win the day, if you want to continue to be consistent, consistency comes first. Winning will happen because you feel motivated. And if you don't feel motivated, here, unpack that. Okay, I told myself I was going to go for a run every day. Well, first of all, that's very ambitious if you have not been running. But let's just use it as an example. Let's say you do stick with it and you go running every day. And you are out there and you are running and you're on day 2, you're on day 7, you're on day 10, and you're just still not feeling that motivation. That might be a sign that this ain't right for you. Like, we're not doing the running thing anymore. I'm going to go get a spin bike. I'm going to try something else. I'm going to lift weights. I'm going to start going to CrossFit. Use that information to say, you know what, this isn't right for me. You're not going to have that occur to you without executing, without the momentum. Okay, well, I did run 20 miles this week. I got the momentum, but the motivation didn't hit me the way I wanted it to. So maybe this isn't right for me. I'm willing to bet that if you really, really wanted to start a running habit and you were actually doing it, and you went 1 mile that week, that motivation hit you, that, okay, I can do this. I started, we can go up from here. Let's go. It's totally up to you, but you will not have that information until you do something about it. You need the momentum to get the motivation. The next thing in terms of winning the day. And the next thing in terms of being consistent and having this motivation, it goes back to what we were just saying about your convictions. You've got this information now, you've got the momentum, you've got some motivation because of what you've been doing, and you're starting to believe different things, right? We're going to believe better things, ideally, because we've had too many negative things that were in our belief system that were limiting us and keeping us from trying anything, from doing anything, from being consistent, from actually showing up for that thing that we planned out, like our morning routine or our goals for this quarter, right? So here's where we're going to get even more clear with those convictions. We need to know our identity, okay? Your identity is not the name on your driver's license, first of all. It may be to some people, but that's not what we're talking about here. Your identity is not who you are today. It's the future you that you can't wait to fall in love with. That's the identity that we need right now. Because we can continue to tell ourselves a story about who you are today, but if we're more focused about who we are in the future, we'll start to believe it's true now as well, because who we want to see ourselves become is the work that we have to put in today. If you believe that there's a better version of you coming, then you can emulate and exude that energy now. Okay, so what is it that you're hoping to achieve? It's not just the things you're going to check off, right? I like to explain this to my team when we're working on when we write for you, right? When we write things out for you, I can tell you all the features, right? The feature of this podcast would be you get to hang out with me. I'm going to be in your earbuds for approximately 30 minutes, if you're lucky, if I'm not too long-winded. It's going to be 30 minutes of audio enjoyment for you. These are just features. Why would you listen to a podcast if I told you that? Why? Who cares? Who cares? You're hanging out with me in your earbuds for 30 minutes. Maybe you're like, oh yeah, well, I could use a buddy on my commute. Okay, cool. But that's not enough. What are the benefits? The benefits are that you and I feel closer when we leave. You feel like a better person. You feel like you've surrounded yourself with someone who's actually lifting you up to your truest potential. You feel like you got to be with somebody who's thinking in a higher level where you would like to be. You learned something you can do today. There are benefits to this conversation that are happening. And so that's what I like to think about when I think of my identity, not just what I'm doing, because what I'm doing is just the features. I can run around and say, yeah, I spent all day working really, really hard. I made a podcast. I wrote some of my book. I filmed a little bit of a video, and look at me, like this is who I am. That's not my identity. My identity is that I am a visionary. I am a motivational speaker and friend to my community. I am an amazing entrepreneur. I am the best at what I do. That is my identity. Even if there's a few things, I don't know, didn't go quite right today. The person I am today, I don't know. We could have done this better. And am I really the best at what I do? I don't know. There's probably somebody better out there. I could say that, but I'm not thinking in terms of who I am right now. I'm thinking in terms of what I'm doing right now to become who I see myself to be in the future. So when you get clear on your identity, who are you? When you consider your highest self in the future to your fullest potential, that is where we need to get our convictions from. Are you a visionary entrepreneur? Are you a rock star executive? Are you a first-class parent? Maybe some of you who are listening are exemplary students. Whatever it is, it's not about what's happening right now. Nobody's documenting the truth of you right now. You're more critical of that than anyone else. If we're trying to get motivated, go get some momentum, go get some motivation, be consistent, be somebody who everyone believes they show up for what they do when they say they're going to do it. It's about having clarity about that identity. Who are you? That's the conversation we need to have every day. That's what we're looking at in the mirror and what we're saying. Who am I? Because if I know exactly who I'm trying to be, I know exactly what I'm going to do today. And we have to stop looking for proof that you are not who you want to be. I always think of this because I'm just a huge fan of Wayne Dyer, and I will just shout him out in every podcast if I can. But he really helped me connect with the phrase I am in a new way, and how starting a sentence with I am is the closest to getting in touch with and having a conversation with your highest self. Because I am is that statement of who you are and who your highest self is. So we don't want to be frivolous about those words and saying I am. Like, I'm such an idiot. Or I'm so dumb. I'm so stupid. Or you do something wrong and you're like, oh, I'm so stupid. No, you are not. No. We are talking about your highest self right now. There is no way you are stupid. Okay? That is not your identity. That is a classic piece of proof that you wanted that the better option is not available to you. But it's not proof and it's not true. And we need to treat it like it's not true. Oh, well, everyone else screws this up for me. Okay, well, that's again, another piece of proof that isn't real. The negativity around me affects me. It keeps me from getting to the next level. Again, not true. Absolutely not true. You're just using it as proof for the story that's working for you. You need to stop looking for the proof that you are not who you want to be and start proving that who you want to be is the standard. Who you want to be, who you see as your future self, that is the standard. I dominate. I adapt. I care. I'm insanely resilient. I always nail it. I am solution oriented. I'm a visionary. I'm a rock star. I'm an amazing parent. That's the standard. And then if you don't believe that you are the best and the best isn't coming, then it won't. But if you do believe it, that is the conviction you need. That is what's going to get you into the momentum. That's what's going to get you closer to that motivation. We have to believe that is the standard. Okay. So here's some maybe more practical ways of considering this for yourself every day. How are we going to find the motivation? How are we going to be consistent and win the day every day? Because every single thing we do every day contributes to that greater vision. Decide who you truly are and believe it. No matter what it takes for you, I'm more the person that likes to write it down. I'm kind of like the Simpsons where Bart would get in trouble and write on the chalkboard and he'd have to write the same thing over and over again in the title sequence, or maybe even in the content. I don't know. In the actual episode, he might have had to do that a few times too. I like to rewrite the same things all the time. I do. It helps reiterate it in my mind. It's my favorite form of journaling currently right now is affirmative journaling, just rewriting the things I want to know by heart, the beliefs I want to be, my convictions, if they are not already. That's something that works for me. Write it down whenever you can. Write it down. Or you might need to come up with some new mantras to repeat to yourself in those struggle moments. So think about the, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid moments, right? No, we're changing that conversation. Next time you do something silly, you spill something or some kind of accident happens, I'm not a klutz. I'm not sloppy. That's when you fail in those moments, your response is now, that's so weird that I did that. That's so weird because I dominate. Like, I'm the best. That's so weird that I just screwed up. Did anyone see that? Wow. That's so weird. I'm better than that. I'm better than that. I am better than that. That's true. I am better than that. That moment that happened in the past has nothing to do with who defines me. I am better than that. So come up with those new mantras. Come up with those affirmations. How do you need to see them? How do you need to hear them? I write them. I say them. You might just be a saying person. You might need to be in the car on the way to work saying them. Okay? You've got them on a little sticky. You remind yourself of them every day. Decide who you truly are and believe it and remind yourself of it every day. Next, pare down the time that you spend with negative mindsets. I heard an amazing podcast interview with Tony Robbins on the Ed Milet show and just loved how he phrased this. He was talking about how there was somebody in his life that he had been friends with for a very long time. Listen if you can relate. And maybe he had grown out of him a little bit in terms of a mindset standpoint because that person was holding themselves back very much verbally with negative beliefs. And there's going to be times where it's, you don't have to cut someone off completely. And certainly you can probably think somebody close to you, you're like, I'm going to see them all the time. And they live with me. So this is weird. like I'm not going to be able to get rid of them. Tony sat down with this friend who he doesn't live with. Again, it's somebody that's just like a little bit at a distance. And he said, listen, buddy, we're always going to be friends. We're just not going to hang out anymore until something shifts. And that is a very difficult conversation, but I had never heard a really practical way of phrasing that to somebody, that if you wanted to let someone know you're setting a boundary, if you want to verbally set that boundary, I think you can also energetically set a boundary. But if you just wanted to verbally just put the line in the sand, that's a heck of a creative way of putting it. Listen, I'm always going to be your friend. I'm always going to be there for you when you need me. However, this person that is on repeat, this negativity, I'm not hanging out with them. I can't. That's not going to work for me. That's not going to work for my space. And some people are going to take that really poorly. And if you have this conversation with somebody, I would love to hear how it goes, because I personally am more of an energetic boundary type of girl, but I think it stresses a great point that you don't have to say that someone is cut off from your whole life and that you don't care about them at all in order for you to do right by you by limiting the amount of time you spend with negative space. That's what I find very fascinating about the statement. I am not saying I don't care about you. I am only saying I need to make sure I prioritize that I care about myself the most. I need to keep my head right, and you are not facilitating that environment for me. Fascinating quote. I don't know. I just thought that would be very useful for anyone who's like, no, I need to have a conversation. Tell me what to say. That's what he did. So I found that really interesting. And guess what? He said that person turned it around. The people who want to turn it around will turn it around. The people who want to take that personal will take it personal. And you get to decide what to do with that information. If they're going to take that personal, then you, again, cleared yourself the space. It's probably likely they're not going to want to hang out with you either, because they couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle their friend telling them, I care about you, but you are self-sabotaging. And I can't do anything about that. Another step to take, get momentum in the areas you want to see for yourself to change. If you want change to happen, change has got to happen. Go get the motivation by doing it. You do that motivation up. Do it up. Take a small step and hype yourself up before you take it. Let me tell you what I did this morning. Okay. First, I had my coffee with my husband. He left for the day. He's off on a little business meetings. And I thought this is going to be a good day to podcast. I'm going to sit here in a quiet house and I'm going to podcast, but not just sit here and talk on a microphone. I am going to be a dominant podcaster today. I'm going to be the visionary motivational speaker that somebody needs to hear right now. I am exactly who they need right now. I am saying this to myself. I am getting hype. I'm getting excited because you deserve that from me. You deserve me to deliver my very best when I am on this microphone. You are spending time with me intentionally. And because of that, I am going to dominate. I'm going to rock your world. and I'm going to do it on this microphone. This is me talking to myself, getting ready to podcast with you today, because that is, first of all, how I had to flex the vocal cords because I hadn't talked a lot yet this morning. And also I needed to have the right energy for you because I needed to deliver. And the person who I see for myself delivers to the highest degree. If I didn't get enough sleep last night, if I haven't had enough coffee yet, I could have just been on here and been like, okay, so let's talk about how to win the day, guys. You know what I mean? It's a totally different vibe. I could too cool for school my way through this whole podcast if I wanted to, but who does that benefit? Nobody. Okay. All right. So however you've got to do that for yourself, take the small step, hype yourself up, say who you are. What is your identity? What is your true identity? Not what features of your life are happening right now. That's not your identity. Like, well, I'm kind of trying this thing, or I might give this a go today, or I'm doing this for the second time. No, who are you? Remind yourself of that. And the final practical step I wanted to tell you about is a very exciting little thing I've got going on that is going to help you with those really challenging steps with your mindset. Again, this comes down to the fact that we just don't know how to do better mindset, right? We need the practicality. We need the reminder. We need the daily cues. We need the things that are going to keep us going on the regular, because if we leave it all to our own devices and the negativity around us and all the excuses we've had on repeat, we're not going to get there, which is why I wanted to do something really different for the first time. I've never done a course like this before, and it's simply to help you to take your mindset to the next level, but in a way that we actually need to hear right now. We are in so much need of some self-love. Everything we talked about here today is self-love. It is, I love who I am because I know who I am and that amazing potential that is to come. Even if I maybe feel like I'm not witnessing it right now, we need to change that story completely. And that is why I created this self-love level up. This is going to be the first time I've ever done a course that's simply around how do we change the engineering of our mindset and the way that we talk and the way that we think to ourselves so that we actually feel the way we need to be the person that we know we can be. This is your intentional space to do the real inner work that leads to conviction and belief that you are exactly who you want to be. You already are. It's an immersive 5-day course. Every single day in the inaugural class, which, this is the first time I'm ever doing it. So anyone who's in is going to attend live with me. It's to elevate that mindset so you can attract the life you want. So I just want to tell you a little bit about what we're going to go through. On the first day, we've got to talk about releasing the past. We've got to discover how those old stories, those limiting self-narratives can hold us back. We've got to release it so that we can move into our future. And our future can be right now. The only reason why it's not is because of the past that we're hanging on to. So we've got to talk about that. Next, building better boundaries. We kind of talked about the Tony Robbins example today. That's just one way of phrasing it. If you've got the opportunity in that conversation to say something really hard to someone, but there's a lot of other ways too to build better boundaries. And those boundaries are going to help you with the protection you're always looking for. We're always looking for protection. And we, instead of having positive and more productive protection, we protect ourselves by not doing anything. We protect ourselves by avoiding confrontation or avoiding letting anyone see that we want better for ourselves. We're going to come up with better boundaries that protect us. And that's what we're going to do on day 2. The next day, we're going to dive into decisions. The most important skill set that you can have in every aspect of your life is to take on decisions, accept the consequences, both positive and negative consequences of those decisions so that you can learn from them. I have too many ideas. I can't choose the right routine. I don't know where to start. These are not the problem. The problem is you're not making a decision. That's the entirety of what is paralyzing you. Almost entirely. I mean, it's a pretty big one. The next day, we're going to talk about that negative thought process and turning it into abundant possibilities. How do you take those negative thoughts and change the idea of your greatest potential, your identity, abundance, more positivity, whatever it is that you need to get into that higher level of state? And finally, we're going to capture it all with how you're attracting the life that you want. How do you get energized? How do you focus on that vision? How do you keep that vision in mind? How do you stay with that person, that future self? That's what we're going to be discussing. And this is just a little sampling for now of what this course is all about. You can find out more details by going to selflovelevelup.com. That's selflovelevelup.com. We have a wait list there. We will be announcing the dates very, very soon. And actually, they might already be on that page, so you can go cheat and find out. But if you just join the wait list, there's no obligation to join. It can just give you some more details, and you'll be the first to get notified of when we are allowing people into the course. And anyone who's on the wait list with no obligation whatsoever is going to get a whole bunch of resources, so you don't have to wait at all to start this journey. We've got a bunch of stuff that will help you already to get on the right wavelength with this self-love. So head over to selflovelevelup.com, join the waitlist so that you are the first to be able to join us. And anyone on the waitlist is also going to get a special discount code. So if you are taking this very seriously for yourself, which personally, I know anyone who joins knows the importance of getting skin in the game to change the way they think, we're going to give you a little discount for being one of those first people who says, I am willing to make this decision because I know I need it. So it's all at selflovelevelup.com. I wanted you to know about it because I know that if you listen to this podcast, then you are absolutely the type of person who sees and recognizes the importance of surrounding yourself with the right mindset as often as you can. And this is going to be a very intensive 5 days that will get you thinking a lot more along the lines of where you need to be. All the modules, everything will be on replay. You can attend live, you can watch on replay. There's homework, there's going to be assignments there. So you can find out more details at the website, selflovelevelup.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. That's all for today. I appreciate it as always. Remember, subscribe for good vibes, kiss the ones you love, and go after the life you want. I will see you back here on Tuesday. Cheers.